should be seeing my screen. HTMA Basics, Part 7, yes?
Uh-huh.
All right. Hopefully, if anybody needs to come in, I will try and pay attention to both screens. All right, so these, as always, these are the resources for you guys, the Trace Elements website, and then the Analytical Research Labs website has newsletters and the articles to go and do deeper dives on all of this stuff. Daniela, there are satellite labs that will run HTMAs on your side of the globe. So you might be able to reach out to Trace
Yes.
Elements and find out where those are. So, but those are the
Yeah.
two labs that run them that
Mhm.
those are the only two labs that I trust. I know like Doctors Data does some HTMA, but I don't like their reporting in their labs. So Analytical Research or Trace Elements are the two you're looking for. So the calcium phosphorus ratio. So we've done sodium potassium, sodium magnesium, calcium magnesium, and calcium and potassium. Do you guys remember what those ratios stand for? Anybody?
I also have not, I'm about, I don't know, 5 things behind.
That's all
I have
right.
it, I have it listed. So I think I've only listened to one HTMA, the very first one. And
Okay.
then I have the rest to still listen to. So I'm probably the same as Daniela and at this point, because I'm just not, I got behind. So
Well, you're good.
I'm behind a couple as well. I heard the first two live, but
Okay.
I'm behind on the recordings.
That's okay. So, sodium potassium ratio is the most important, right? It's the sodium potassium pump. That is our vitality, our life and death ratio. I don't use that term with clients because I find it scares people to say, "Ooh, your life and death ratio is off." So I just say it's a vitality ratio. The sodium magnesium ratio is the adrenal ratio. And it reflects the activity of the adrenal glands, mostly because aldosterone retains sodium in the body's tissues. So the higher the level of sodium to magnesium, the more active the adrenal glands. There's a whole webinar on that. Sodium, we already did sodium, potassium. I don't memorize, guys, anything that I can look up. Just so you know. Calcium potassium ratio is the thyroid ratio. And then the calcium magnesium is known as the blood sugar ratio. And it's also cardiovascular. So today, and you can get deeper dives into all of those. And I don't know if you can see this. This is the Strands of Health book, guys. It is the first book that you guys should read. It's from the Rick Malter Institute, and this is one of the two guys that, you guys should be reading. So anyway, that's the book you need.
To help understand.
HTMA
Yeah, okay.
specifically. Yeah. A Guide to Understanding Hair Mineral Analysis. This one
what was the book? The Strand book?
The Strands of Health.
Okay.
I think you can get it right on his website at the Malter Institute, but you can also, I think I got mine on Amazon. So, but a lot of the stuff on these slides come directly from those books. So what does the calcium phosphorus ratio represent? Anybody want to take a guess? No wrong answers.
Bone health.
Yeah, bone.
Dang it. I wish I wasn't having to unmute myself. Y'all took all my answers. But I'm in the pharmacy, so if I don't, like, you'll be hearing a whole bunch of conversations.
That's all right.
I think that you were shocked. Right. And
I still haven't heard it yet, though. So,
Oh,
Oh, well, I was going to say bone, so I'm just wrong like everybody else.
I was going to say bone too.
Um, kidney?
So
Oh,
kidney's not right either. So that's more sodium. Anytime you want to think of aldosterone and cortisol, and we did a whole thing, there's a lot on that. But calcium phosphorus is either oxidation, metabolic rate, and nervous system balance. So when we're looking at this, the metabolic rate of the body is the overall rate of tissue oxidation of fuels by all of the body's organs. So the dietary fuels are the carbohydrate, fat, protein, alcohol, and minor dietary components that are oxidized in the tissues. Oxygen being taken up by the lungs and the combusted end products, carbon dioxide, water, and urea, being excreted by the lungs, urine, and skin. So it's just writing basic metabolism. How is the body using the fuel that we give it? And then the nervous system. So we're looking at the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. The peripheral nervous system does autonomic, self-regulated control, self-regulated action of internal organs and glands. The central nervous system controls voluntary movement of skeletal muscles. No, peripheral. Autonomic or somatic, and then the autonomic is broken up into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So if you guys, basic anatomy and physiology there. But the peripheral nervous system and the autonomic nervous system division, right? When you start talking about all the different things that it's broken up into, and just understanding that, the nervous system does a lot of different things, but this ratio is going to be talking about sympathetic versus parasympathetic. And how does that affect everything? So the oxidation ratio should be around 2.6, and there's small windows around the optimum like there are for anything else. If it is lower, 1.8, you're looking at a fast oxidizer. Fast oxidizers usually have faster thyroid and adrenal activity, but you could look at those other ratios and they could be different. And it's usually they lean towards sympathetic dominance. Anything over 2.6, 3.6 to higher, you're going to be looking at someone who has slow oxidation, slow metabolism, slower thyroid, slower adrenal activity, and they're going to have more of a parasympathetic dominant mode.
Joe,
Go ahead.
I just want to ask a quick question. When you talk about oxidation test results, you know how with the HTMA and blood work, you can get values from each and they're just different how you handle it. Is there any such thing as an oxidative rate in blood work, or is it all HTMA only?
I only know of that in HTMA.
Okay,
I mean,
thanks.
obviously blood work is different. You can look at some of the skewing, right? They talk about that, if people have skewed stuff, you're looking at adrenal issues and skewed electrolytes on blood labs. Obviously you're going to get straight thyroid numbers, you're going to get, some other things that can help you figure it out, but this is strictly a HTMA way of
Thank you.
looking at things, okay? And we'll see it when we go to do DEBS. We're going to look at the HTMA guidebook, and it's got the little sliding scale of fast and slow oxidizers, because it's going to give you right on the HTMA report whether they have a fast or a slow, and it's going to be associated with a number 1, 2, 3, 4 fast or 1, 2, 3, 4 slow, and you'll see how that works. So think about the ratio and what it means. If you guys are mathematically inclined, you have when this ratio is high, we're saying that there's more calcium relative to phosphorus in the body. And then when it's low, we're saying there's less calcium relative to phosphorus. And it's relative. Just like when we talk about estrogen dominance, right? That it's not that there's a lot of one versus the other. It's the relative ratio of one to the other. right? So remember, it's a ratio, so you have to take both into account. So on this HTMA, for example, you're going to look at a calcium level of 14, right, which is low, divided by phosphorus, which is a little bit higher here. And the ratio is going to be 14. It's 14 divided by 15. So you're going to have a ratio of 0.93 when you look at this ratio, which is going to be low, right? And then if we go back, what does a low ratio mean? That they're a fast oxidizer, they have faster activity, and they're more sympathetic dominant.
Okay.
Okay. So we have to start thinking, right? When I started this, you have to know what these things do in the body. So what is the role of phosphorus? And you guys said bones, which was right, right? Calcium and phosphorus, bones and teeth contain about 80% of our total phosphorus. Phosphorus helps to process B complex vitamins, and we need these minerals to utilize vitamins. It's also, phosphorus is really important in ATP production and cellular health, right? Adenosine, what? Triphosphate, right?
Phosphate.
So that's why, when you talk about the calcium phosphorus, you're really looking at, are we speeding up metabolism? Do we have enough energy to drive this car? Or not? Or are we tapping the brake because we're low, right? So enzymatic reactions require minerals. Without minerals, you're not going to get enzyme reactions and you're not going to have good function in the body. Phosphorus regulates calcium. So if you have low phosphorus, you're going to have more anxiety, more anger, more muscle cramping, more fatigue, hair loss, brittle nails, poor protein metabolism, and low stomach acid. So this is where, if you have a low phosphorus level, that you can suggest things like collagen and bone broth, which serves to support that compromised digestive system, but it's really super hard to find some of these things that aren't contaminated. So just be careful when your clients are out there researching that you're not getting products they're not just going to Walmart and finding anything, any old collagen or any old whatever, because a lot of them can be contaminated. And I'm always one to say, like, just make the broth, right? There's that recipe in I don't know which one it was, but we ended it with the potassium bone broth recipe, right? For them to make their own. So what's the personality of phosphorus? We already did calcium, so let's talk about phosphorus here. Phosphorus is tall, thin, and strong. It is stimulatory. It's not calming or dulling like calcium. It stays very busy processing nutrients. So I don't know if you guys are visual people. I like being able to look at an HTMA and go, ooh, there's a lot of calming, here. There's a lot of this, there's a lot of that. Or, we don't have enough of something that's stimulatory. So you can actually see, if you get pictures in your mind of what these minerals, what their personality is, and when people have a lot of something, what might be happening. So if it's tall, thin, strong, and stimulatory, and it's busy bee, right? And you think this person has a lot of phosphorus, then you're going to be thinking, okay, they're fast, they're buzzing around, they're doing this, they're consuming a lot of vitamin D, in this process. And then low phosphorus, what's happening over there? They're typically slow, right? Because calcium is going to dominate, right? They're going to be a slow oxidizer. They're not going to be able to digest as much. They're going to have poor absorption. This might be because of copper toxicity, because they don't have enough zinc, lots of different reasons, but there's very different things that happen. And when you look at a person, and you look at the minerals that are dominating, you're going to see that the people kind of mimic what mineral patterns they have. It's kind of interesting. So parathyroid hormone, vitamin D, and the kidneys all help to regulate calcium and phosphorus levels in the blood. These levels are tightly regulated by the body, so even the bones and the teeth may release these to maintain blood levels. The parathyroid gland can sense an imbalance of calcium or phosphorus. If the calcium level is low, the parathyroid gland will release parathyroid hormone, PTH, which tells the kidneys to produce more active vitamin D. This helps the body to absorb more dietary calcium and phosphorus through the intestine. It tells the bone to release calcium and phosphorus into the blood, and it tells the kidneys to excrete more phosphorus in the urine. So next up is the zinc and copper ratio. Do you guys have any questions on calcium and phosphorus, or is it just a matter of going through and just remember?
Yeah, I
Go
think
ahead.
I'm gonna have to listen to it a bunch of times
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see it in action before. Like I'm a very much an applier person. Like that's when it'll click.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Me too. So I can have all this information, but until I act, and that's why visualizing, right? To go in and actually say, okay, what happens when, right? And to know where phosphorus is being utilized in the body, what its job is, and to then think, okay, if this person is low in phosphorus, how are they making ATP? How are they making energy? Right?
So
Mhm.
when you're talking about phosphorus tall and thin, it reminds me very much of homeopathy, where you've got, I mean, not everybody fits into that, but primarily that's what they look like. Or the calcs, like the calcarium client, is the description in that book of HTMA?
It's
Like,
also um it was more something that we I think we came to. I'm trying to think if it's actually in the Strands of Health book. It's been a while since I read it. But it is on our HTMA guidebook and there's
okay,
actually
thank you.
pictures. So when we get to that,
Super. Thank you.
okay. Well, let me